We're going to go ahead and open up this meeting. Do we need to make sure that our technology is working before we start? Can you hear me in the south? I don't think they can hear. Yeah, we can't hear.
Okay.
Here we go.
Can we sign?
Can you hear us?
Okay. All right, so thank you. You're able
Eric, can you hear us?
We can hear you now. Thank you.
All right, so we have one on and off button for the mics for the tables, so the opportunity for operator error is high. So please, I'll try and make it work.
Perfect. Okay, then with that, we'll go ahead and open up this July 18th, 2024 meeting of the Nevada Cannabis Compliance Board. Can we go ahead and have a roll call?
Vice Chair Durrett. Amber, do you know if she's on? She's not on yet. Okay. Honorable Michael Douglas.
Present.
Member Merritt. Dr. Mazarana.
Present.
Chair Guzman Frelick.
Thank you very much. So we have a quorum.
And Vice Chair Durrett should be joining us via Zoom.
Perfect. Okay, then we'll go ahead and go to public comment. We'll start with public comment in the south, and we'll go to the north. And then also we have online, and we have instructions on how to go online for public comment.
To provide public comment via telephone, call 669-444-9171. Enter webinar ID 822-6678-4243, followed by passcode 319694.
Thank you. With that, we'll go ahead and go with public comment in the south. Please state your name for the record clearly so that our court reporter can get your information. And I just want to remind everybody to limit your comments to 3 minutes. Go ahead.
So, good morning, everyone. My name is Tara Baker, and I am just coming to make myself known and to introduce myself to the community. I am representing a new waste management company here to help our cultivators remain state compliant. So we are on the roll. We should be opening and operating by hopefully Labor Day, if not sooner. So that's all I really wanted to say. And the company's name is EcoWeed Disposal Solutions. We've already got our license. We're working on our license board right now. And other than that, we'll be looking forward to working with our cultivators soon.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Additional public
additional
comment?
Does not look like there is, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll go ahead and go to the north. Any public comment in the north? We have a few visitors, but no public comment. We'll go online.
To provide public comment, dial *9 to raise your hand if joining by phone, or click the raise hand icon if joining via Zoom. There's no online comment.
Thank you very much. Reminder, we'll also have public comment at the end of the meeting. And now we'll go to item number 2 on our agenda, which is the meeting minutes. We have 3 separate items for that. We'll take them individually. Starting with A, which is the consideration of approval of the June 20th, 2024 Cannabis Compliance Board meeting minutes. If everyone has had the chance to review the minutes, if you have any comments, concerns, corrections, let us know. If not, I'll take a motion for the approval of the minutes of the June 20th, 2024 board meeting.
Member Douglas, motion for approval of the June 20th, 2024.
Thank you, Member Douglas.
Board.
Do we have a?
Member Mazarana, second this.
Thank you, Doctor. We have a first, a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any, none opposed? Motion carries. Then we'll go for the approval of the June 28th, 2024 Cannabis Compliance Board meeting minutes. Any changes, concerns? None, I'll take a motion.
Member Mazarano, motions to approve those minutes, consideration of approval of the June 28th Cannabis Compliance Board meeting minutes.
Member Douglas, second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No discussion on the motion. Okay. Motion carries. And now we'll go on to C, which is the consideration of acceptance of the May 14th, 2024 regulatory workshop disciplinary regulations. Any comments, concerns, changes on those minutes?
Member Douglas, move for acceptance of the May 1st, 2024 packaging advertising workshop minutes.
Member Mazarano seconds that.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Is there a vote? We didn't hear your vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect, thank you. Motion carries. Okay. Item number three, this is the consent agenda. Normally we take these and vote on them as in one fell swoop, but if we could just have just a quick report on each one, that would be wonderful. So with that, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to you and the members of the board. Steve Gilbert, Chief of Administration, for the record. Agenda item 3A consists of 2 petitions submitted by conditional licensees to extend the 12-month period for a final inspection by the CCB. Item number 1 is for Deep Roots Harvest Incorporated, which was approved for a conditional retail attached consumption lounge license in the Clark County jurisdiction after passing suitability by the board at the August 22nd, 2023 meeting. On June 21st, 2024, through its legal counsel, Deep Roots submitted a letter to the CCB requesting a 6-month extension of the August 22nd, 2024 deadline for a final inspection. Deep Roots reports even with significant progress it has made since last year, the county's administrative approval process has caused delays which are out of Deep Roots' control. Deep Roots believes if granted this requested 6-month extension, it will be able to satisfy the conditions for its consumption lounge to become operational by the first quarter of 2025. Staff have communicated to DHR or Deep Roots that there are no concerns and have asked that the license be prepared to discuss its progress at the board meeting. I'm available for any questions, and Lori Rogich and John Marshall are present today to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Chief Gilbert. Do we have those representatives then for Deep Roots?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Chief Staley, Chief Gilbert. My name is Lori Rogich on behalf of Deep Roots Harvest Inc. With me today is John Marshall. Mr. Marshall is the Chief Operating Officer of Deep Roots Harvest. And we thank you for your consideration. We're asking for a short extension with regard to the consumption lounge. It'll allow us to complete the inspections and the construction and the approval process.
Thank you very much. And welcome. I have a question for you, and I know that sometimes it's hard to get all of the approvals through local government. And do you prefer having a 12-month extension, or if we're able to do that, or would you rather keep it at 6 months? And with a 12-month, there would be maybe a reporting period, or just to the staff in 6 months, just to see how you're doing. I'm just thinking that sometimes things get bottlenecked and it takes longer than what we anticipate.
Yes, thank you so much. We would appreciate that.
You're in favor of that. Great. Okay. Any additional comments before I bring it back to the board for our discussion? And I don't know if the board shares in my idea to extend it out for 12 months, but we'll see.
Member Douglas, I don't have a problem with 12 months. I just had two quick questions. One is, don't recall location of where the establishment would be. And the other is just kind of a percentage breakdown. I saw your list, and dealing with the county, I know it can be difficult from time, but percentage of work that's been done and where is the property located?
Yeah, you bet. John Marshall, Chief Operating Officer, Deep Roots Harvest. So this property is at our Blue Diamond dispensary off of Blue Diamond and just west of the highway. And it's a patio, an outdoor patio. Our main friction with the local jurisdiction and zoning has been related to odor control. Because it's an outdoor patio, how do you control odor? And so we kind of went back and forth with air quality. And then now we've gotten a business license and zoning approvals and all that. And we're in the building department review. And we have some structural concerns with the siding, I guess, how we're concealing it from the public. It's a paver patio, and there's no footers or concrete. And so they've had us modify our the structural reinforcements and the footers and concrete. So a little bit of delay there, but we anticipate, like Laurie said, to be able to get open in 6 months, but 12 would be great, just in case.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions or comments from the board? If not, then I'm prepared to take a motion.
Member Douglas, I'd move for a 12-month extension period for the cannabis lounge for Deep Roots Harvest.
Member Mazarano seconds that.
Okay, we have a first and second. Any discussion on the motion? I would just like to see, even if it's just a phone call to staff, maybe in February to just to kind of see what the progress is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, then we'll take the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
The next agenda item, our presenter is running about 15 minutes late. So if there's no concern, I'd like to trail that just so that we can get a quick report on his status. And so if we can take the item number 4, which is the proposed settlement agreement, and then come back to item 2 or number 2 in item 3, that would be great. Are we able to do that? Our DAG?
No problem there.
Perfect. Okay. And with that, and then we'll go ahead and go to legal counsel for, or it's, who's reporting on the proposed settlement agreement?
It'll be me, Chair. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Tony Garassi, Senior Deputy Attorney General, presenting on the proposed settlement agreement under item 4A. This is related to case number 2024-009 CCB v. versus 3AP Inc. 3AP Inc. is a cannabis cultivation facility in Las Vegas. The complaint for this case was filed and served on May 14th, 2024. And after service of this complaint, 3AP, through its point of contact, contacted me prior to the due date for the answer, and we engaged in settlement discussions. An extension to the answer deadline was provided. Settlement discussions ensued. After those discussions between myself, 3AP's point of contact, and 3AP's counsel, the parties were able to reach a settlement agreement in principle pending the approval of the settlement agreement and the board's approval today. No answer has been filed at this point to the complaint. The allegations in the complaint arise from a routine audit which commenced in May of 2023. The key allegations in the complaint include disposal log discrepancies of metric, posting of tax permits, and the failure to report security equipment malfunctions. Set forth in the proposed settlement agreement, which you have in your materials. To resolve these matters, respondent admitted to a CAT 4 violation for failing to properly respond to the board's request for documentation. Respondent also agreed to pay civil penalties totaling $2,000 within 30 days of the approval of the settlement agreement, meaning if it's approved today, those funds will be due Monday, August 19th. TCB staff and council, we fully considered the mitigating factors in coming to this resolution. Those are outlined in paragraph 9 of the settlement agreement. Those mitigating factors include the fact that respondent cooperated with CCB staff in formulating and implementing an appropriate plan of correction, as well as cooperating with CCB council during the discipline process, and were able to come to a quick resolution without the need for an answer. Respondent provided that plan of correction, which is detailed in paragraph 19, and CCB staff approved that plan of correction. Based on the foregoing, the Attorney General recommends and requests the board approve the settlement agreement. I'm available to answer any questions, and it's my understanding that AP is represented here today if you have questions for them.
Thank you. Okay, do we have the representatives then for 3AP?
Morning.
Good morning. If you could just go ahead and state your name for the record.
Raj Gazdaka, owner, president, 3AP.
Okay, thank you. We have all of the information stated on the record. Do you have any comments or concerns with regard to the stipulation that you're about to enter into?
I think Mr. Grassi covered it all. We just want to thank the staff and Mr. Grassi for being so prompt and finding a resolution for this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments or concerns, questions from the board members? Okay, doesn't appear.
This member Douglas, for the record, I too noted the plan for correction. Additionally, the amount in settlement is $2,000 in this case. I was trying to see where the date was when this payment had been made.
30 days from the date the settlement's approved.
Thank you.
Question, what was the 19th date exactly?
If it's approved today, it would be due on August 19th. That's 30 days from today.
Does that work?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, any additional questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll go ahead and take a motion on this matter.
Member Douglas, I would move for the acceptance and approval of the stipulation for settlement of disciplinary action, State of Nevada Cannabis Compliance Board versus 3AP Inc., CO74 and RCO74.
Member Mezrana seconds that motion.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
None opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll sign that agreement today. Okay, we're going to go back to item 3. Item 3 and number 2 under item 3, which is the venue at Soul Cannabis LLC. This is a petition to extend the 12-month period for a final inspection consumption lounge. Chief Gilbert.
Thank you, Chair. Agenda 3A2 is for the venue at Soul Cannabis LLC, which is approved for a conditional retail attached consumption lounge license in the Washoe County jurisdiction after passing suitability by the board at the June 20th, 2023 meeting. On June 24th, 2024, the venue submitted a letter to the CCB requesting an extension for its conditional license. Its 12-month deadline for final inspection was June 20th, 2024. The venue did not specify a time frame for an extension. Cannabis consumption lounges are not allowed in ordinance in unincorporated Washoe County. In July 2023, the county commission voted 3-2 against allowing staff to draft new ordinances. The venue reports over the past 12 months, county commissioners have termed out and will be replaced later this year, and they anticipate the issue of the consumption lounge will again be brought forward to the county commission after the November election. The venue has continued working with the Washoe County Sheriff's Office to establish a safe location for its lounge. Staff has communicated to the venue that there are no areas of concern, and Ed Alexander is present today to address any questions you may have.
Thank you. Mr. Alexander, did you want to come up and give us a brief?
Sure.
Yes, please.
One moment, we gotta set the camera up for you.
Oh, you do?
Go ahead and
Okay.
sit down, but no. Oh. Exactly. You just gotta get the camera set up on you.
Where would you like me to sit?
Setting up the camera.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Get my photogenic side? Not sure which one that is.
I heard another vote, like some, oh, there we go. Okay.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and the rest of the CCB members. For the record, my name is Ed Alexander. A little bit of background on where we are and where we hope to go. So initially, when we were approved by the state of Nevada, we had. Can you hear me okay?
The camera's just kind of weird.
Oh my gosh.
We had preliminary discussions with Washoe County in which they expressed their desire to move forward with lounges. In the interim, I think we got June approval. We went into an election cycle, so we had the first vote with the county commissioners where they voted to allow consumption lounges. There's a 2-vote process required at Washoe County. So when the secondary vote came to pass, 2 of the commissioners that had voted yes had termed out. The 2 new commissioners felt that they needed more time to get a grasp and an understanding of it. So that June vote that was noted was actually the second vote where we thought it was an approval vote, turned out not to be. So we've worked, areas of concern were public transportation. We're working with the Regional Transportation Committee to get a bus stop out there. We're working with the Sheriff's Department to make sure that we can, we're never going to make everybody 100% comfortable with what's happening, but ensuring them that we have, protocols and policies in place for transportation of getting people to and from the venue. So I feel very confident in our ability to continue making forward progress. And in light of the fact that there wasn't state regulations in place when we were initially issued our conditional permit, the county felt like they were kind of blindly moving forward into uncharted territory. We were probably the most ready to immediately deploy and open a lounge, and I think that scared the county a bit in the sense that they didn't want to go first. Now that they've seen that venues in Southern Nevada have opened for the most part without issue, I think that some of that reservation is slowly subsiding. So, respectfully, we would ask for an extension. We spent in excess of $100,000 on the initial application process, and given the amount of extensions that have been given for cultivation and production facilities throughout the length of the CCB, I think it's appropriate that we be given the opportunity to perfect this license. So appreciate you guys considering it, and if there's any questions or concerns, I'm happy to address them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any questions from the board members for Mr. Alexander?
Member Douglas, for the record, the only question is based upon kind of a sea change up there. Has the county authorized the appropriate parties to start looking at drafting language for allowance?
Chair Douglas, Ed Alexander for the record. So the county had drafted all of the ordinance changes that were required for this change of use. So that has existed for the better part of 14 months at this point. What we are urging the county to do is to push this back to the planning committee to adopt the ordinances to allow, because currently, as all jurisdictions, cannabis lounges were never a use. So everybody has had to change to where they are an approved use. So the answer is language has been drafted for the better part of a year. Now we're trying to get the planning commission to adopt that language, giving us an allowable use so that we can come back to the Board of County Commissioners and get what we hope to be a favorable vote on moving forward with the licensing process.
Thank you for that.
Any additional questions?
Member Mazarano, no additional questions for him, but I would think we could offer 1 year as we did Deep Roots.
Yes, and I believe that that's what you were asking for. Yes, okay, perfect. Okay. Is that a motion as well? Dr. Mazarana?
Yeah, Member Mazarano makes a motion to approve for an extension of 1 year. I believe that's June 20th, 2025, correct? For extending the venue at Soul Cannabis.
Member Douglas, for the record, could we make that to the June meeting of 2025?
Okay, we have, do you accept that friendly amendment?
Yes, Member Mazarano accepts that amendment.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Chair,
Hearing-
it's Member Durrett. I just want to let you know I am online.
Oh, okay, perfect. Great, thank you. Okay, so we'll have the record reflect that Member Durrett is now online and in the meeting. And so if there's no comments or concerns on discussion, then I'll go ahead and get that vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Good luck with all those steps.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we are on item 5. This is a consideration of license agreements. And with that, Mr. Staley,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Chair Guzman, Freilich, Vice Chair Durrett, Justice Douglas, and Dr. Mazarana. For the record, I'm David Staley, Division Chief of Investigations for the CCB. I'm here to present agenda item number 5, which consists of one lease agreement. Item 1A is a lease agreement between Main Street Tenant LLC, a subsidiary of CPCM Holdings LLC, and Alpine Building LLC. The lease agreement provides for CPCM to locate its dispensary, RD264, in Alpine's facility on Main Street, Las Vegas, near Fremont Street. The lease agreement in part provides that CPCM will pay Alpine a percentage of revenue based on RD264 meeting net sales amounts. CCB staff have reviewed the agreement and found the relationship between the parties appropriate. I am available for any questions, and my understanding that Amanda Connor is present today to address any questions you may have as well. With that, Chair Guzman Freilich, I'll turn this item back to you.
Great, thank you. Good morning, Ms. Connor.
Good morning, Chairwoman, members of the board. Amanda Connor from the law firm of Connor & Connor on behalf of Commerce Park Medical, RD264 LLC, and CPCM Holdings. I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions for Ms. Connor from the board with regard to this lease?
Yeah, this for the record. It's kind of your involved within the industry. Is this kind of something that's occurring more often now? Or percentage?
Justice Douglas, I I do see these somewhat occurring more frequently now. I think it's a way to compromise. Landlords want a higher rent for this type of license, but given some of the difficulties licensees have faced, they don't want to sign leases with very high base rents amounts. So a percentage rent formula can be a compromise to achieve that goal.
And for the record, I'm not opposed to what's being put forth here today. I do have concerns for future that we look at suitability of landlords when they're doing percentage rents because they're sharing the profit. But having said that, I have no problem with what's being offered today.
Thank you. And with that, I do have a question for staff as far as how much vetting do we do with regard to a landlord that is receiving profits from cannabis business?
Chair Guzman-Freilich, for the record, I'm David Staley. We have always, in all of our management service contracts, lease agreements, and licensing agreements, we do a pretty robust review of the suitability of the proposed partner. Probably not as robust as we do with a transfer of interest. I believe that last agenda item, Justice Douglas asked that we include a paragraph in the investigative report discussing the review of the suitability. This item specifically was, I think, originally on the June agenda, and then it got pushed back to July. So this is the old report format, but we will be including at least a paragraph discussion of the suitability work we do in the future. That suitability work has always been present, just simply not discussed in the MSA memo, but it will be in the future.
Great, thank you. And that's a great question and a great answer and good discussion with that. Thank you, Member Douglas, for bringing that up. With that, are there any questions, any additional questions for Ms. Connor?
Not a question for Ms. Connor. Again, a change in the world that we live in. Recently, there was some conversation, today's paper more specifically, in the past, over the A's coming to town and property for Valleys, but a new way of financing casinos with hedge fund or real estate folks and gaming partnerships. So this is something we're starting to see in gaming. We're now seeing it. So we need to be aware.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no additional questions or comments, then we'll go ahead and take a motion. Is there a motion for the approval?
Member Douglas, for the record, I move for approval of the licensing agreement as to this matter.
Member Mazrana seconds that agreement. Seconds that
Thank you.
motion, sorry.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you very much. We'll go on to item number 6. This is the request for transfers of interest. We have one item on that. Mr. Staley.
Chair Guzman-Freilich, members of the board, for the record, I'm David Staley. I'm here to present agenda item number 6, which consists of one transfer of interest or TOI application. Item number 6A is a TOI application by Verano Holdings Corp. LLC. TOIs number 2300021 through 2300023 were filed requesting approval for the removal of various tax blocking subsidiaries that are no longer needed within Verano's corporate structure. Verano has also requested a waiver of NCCR 5.110 pursuant to 5.112 for transfers of less than 5%. Staff suggests that if approved, the board limit Verano's 5.112 waiver to expire on its next TOI agenda date. No areas of concern were developed during this investigation. I'm available for any questions, and my understanding is that James Leventis, George Arcos, and John Tipton are available to address any questions you may have as well. With that, Chair Guzman-Freilich, I will turn this item back to you.
Great, thank you very much. And I see one individual on camera, and I don't know if everybody else is joining by phone, but if you would like to introduce yourself for the record, just state your name so that our court reporter could get that. Oh, we can't hear you.
Sorry about that. Good morning. My name is Craig Varn. I'm in-house counsel for Verano Holdings, the parent company for WSCC, Lone Mountain Partners, and NatureX. Mr. Tipton and Mr. Archos are not on the phone, just for clarification, so I should be able to answer any questions that you may have, though.
Great, well, thank you, and thank you for being with us. How is business?
Well, I mean, it depends on which state, and I mean, we're trying. I think we're doing well. Again, it really depends on the state. We've closed down, the original list that you saw had a bunch of licenses that we've surrendered. So we're down to about 8 different licenses actually in this application. We did close down one of our cultivation facilities, but we're still operating. So everything is positive as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so 8 licenses just in Nevada. I understand how many states are you in at the time?
Depending on, we assist other companies and states. So if you want me to include those, I'd say 16. Our facilities are in 13.
13, okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I'll open it up to the rest of the board members if they have any questions. And this is pretty much a simple, just cleanup, correct?
Exactly. Well, it'd be a shrinking, removing a layer.
One layer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it's a simple transaction, but any questions from the board members?
Questions at this point based on the last statement?
All right, if there are no additional questions, then I'm prepared for your motion.
Members, we recommend for approval of the transfer of interest in court and picking up our cleanup item, the waiver of NCCR 5.110 pursuant to NCCR 5.112 as to the 5%, less than 5% investigations.
Member Mazarana seconds that motion.
We have
And
a
that
first.
And I need to add to that because it should be, it's good until this matter comes back before the board.
We have a first. Is there a second?
Member Mazarana seconds that.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Great. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you very much.
We now have a petition. This is filed pursuant to Senate Bill 277, Section 4.5. It's my understanding that is it Sal? I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but he is going to have this petition heard in open meeting unless that has changed. And we have Mr. Sal in the room. Cal?
It's Cal, Chair.
Cal?
Cal, yeah.
Cal.
Okay. Thank you for bearing with me. Okay, Mr. Cal. And he is in the room, and Mr. Cal has an interpreter with him. So for the court reporter, there's going to be an interpreter. So I think there's going to be a little bit of time. So I will try not to step over the presenters. Good morning.
Morning.
And welcome. Mr. Cow, do you have a presentation for us?
之前年轻的时候。
But he didn't bring anything today for, we already submitted, I think, ahead for, whatever he's listed.
Okay, and the public does not get to see what he has submitted, so I'm wondering if he has anything to say to the board for our consideration. What is it that he would like for us to do?
OK， 他是说，因为我跟之前是交流的，是给那个私人，然后来说这个事情，觉得
我现在想好好上班，然后好好工作，希望给我一个机会，让我去好。然后我之前做的那些事已经，
你慢点说，我这个记不住。
之前做的那些事已经就是进过监狱了，然后。
So he said he had a criminal record while he was young before, and now he's trying to get the agent card approved so he can get back to work. And then he already did the yeah, he already went into the jail for a period of time, like 6 months, and now he. 然后你的 probation 是多长时间？
probation 是3年，但是我1年零2个月的时候，那个缓刑官就给我拿掉了，说表现的可以。
Okay, and there's also a 3 years probation after that, but his probation officer took that off like after 1 year. So because of his good, sorry, I don't know why I'm kind of nervous now.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. And you know what I'm going to do too, just to put down a good record, let me just back up a little bit. Mr. Cow has agreed to have this meeting in an open meeting, correct? And not a closed door meeting?
是要一个公开的会议，不是一个就是私人私下的会议，是吧？ Yes.
Okay, thank you. And with that, what I'll do is I'll have Chief Gilbert just do a brief synopsis or summary of Mr. Cow's application and the findings, and then we can go from there, okay? Thank you. Chief Gilbert?
Thank you, Chair. Steve Gilbert for the record. Pursuant to Senate Bill 277, Section 4.51, Mr. Cow submitted a petition for an exemption from the prohibitions resulting from the conviction of an excluded felony offense. Mr. Cow submitted an agent card application on February 20th of 2024. The agent card application was submitted for the role of an employee in the cultivation category. Mr. Cow signed the required electronic waiver giving the Cannabis Compliance Board the authority to review the criminal history results obtained from the Nevada Department of Public Safety and the FBI. Mr. Cow submitted fingerprints to the Nevada Criminal History Repository on February 22nd, 2024, and the CCB issued a temporary agent card as an employee in the cultivation category on February 26th of 2024. Mr. Cow was then hired by a licensed cultivation establishment. On May 20th, 2024, the CCB received Mr. Cow's criminal history results from the Nevada Department of Public Safety and the FBI. On May 29th, 2024, the CCB issued and mailed a disposition letter requesting supporting documentation on several charges listed in his criminal history result. Upon receipt of those supporting documents, it was determined that Mr. Cow met the criteria for an excluded felony restriction. On June 14th, 2024, the CCB issued and mailed a denial letter to Mr. Cow indicating his application for a cannabis establishment agent registration card was being denied due to his criminal history background report containing 2 felony convictions pursuant to the requirements set forth in NRS 678B.340. On June 23rd, 2024, Mr. Cow submitted all the necessary documents to petition for an exemption from the excluded felony offense restriction. That's a rundown, Chair. I'm available for any questions, and I'll hand it back over to you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cow, we just heard an explanation of what has occurred up to date. Is there anything that you would like to add? Anything that's new? Whether or not you have a pending employer that is wanting to hire you right now? If you could just go ahead and explain that, and then we'll go ahead and open it up for the board to ask you any questions.
So he actually has a pending employer that willing to hire him back when his agent card is get approved. And then he got a kind of like an email letter from the owner of the company. So he printed it out and then.
Okay, great. You have that letter, which is a letter from his former employer?
Yeah.
Would that be, Member Mazarana, that be Sobe Holdings LLC?
So High Holdings.
So High Holdings.
Yes.
And if somebody could just give me do we have that on record? We don't have that. He just brought it in today, correct?
We don't. Yeah, that's the first we've seen of it.
Okay. If somebody could tell me if that is it an offer of employment? Or is it a letter of recommendation? Thank you.
Chair Guzman-Freilich, David Staley for the record. This is a letter from Sohai Holdings LLC dated July 15th of 2024, signed or electronically signed by Kang Yang, the CEO of Sohai Holdings. I have here a letter. The email indicates, Dear Mr. Cow, we're pleased to offer you the position of grow helper at Sohai starting on when agent card is approved. Then they talk about who he reports to, the time, the salary, and then he is to confirm this offer letter by signing below. So it appears that it is a email offer of employment dated July 15th, pending receipt of an agent card from Sohai Holdings LLC.
Okay, and that's one of our licensees.
I would defer to Chief Gilbert on there, but yes, Sohai Holdings is one of our licensees, but I don't know their license number.
Okay. Okay, I have, go ahead.
One sec, Chair.
Go ahead.
There was something to add.
Yeah, so High Holdings was just past the MSA with Fortress, I think at the last board meeting, so that helped.
Did you hear that, Chair?
I did not. If you could repeat that for me.
Sohai was in front of the board at its June meeting for approval of an MSA with Fortress Equities.
Okay.
And that occurred last month.
Okay. Great. Thank you for that clarification. Okay. Let's open it up to the board for any questions.
Yes, the record, if I can have the interpreter state her name so we have that on our record.
My name is Hong Yao and last name is Zhu.
Can you spell that?
Hongyao, that's my first name, and last name is Zhu, D-U.
Thank you. Mr. Shao, how long have you been in Nevada, California?
3.5 months.
3.5 months.
The bottom.
And I note that for the record, your release from any probation matters as of October of 2022.
2022年10月份的时候才落这个 probation， 对吧？
And our record, at least what we have, there's not been any type of interaction with law enforcement since that release from probation.
就是你再也没被抓过了那时候。
Thank you.
Any other questions from board members? I have a question. Mr. Cow, your new employment is with a grow. Will any of your responsibilities, will you be handling money or credit cards?
So he said only cultivation parts with the plants.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sorry, only the cultivation part with the plants.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from board members? Any additional comments from Mr. Cow?
No, he just said you will work really hard if you get approved, so.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with that, I'm prepared for a motion, and we can have discussion if the board pleases, and vote on the motion.
Member Douglas, for the record, I would move for the acceptance of a petition for exemption from excluded felony offense restrictions, approve his work card.
We have a first, is there a second?
Member Mazarano seconds that motion.
Any discussion on the motion?
Can we
I
make,
just-
Member Mazarano would like to make sure that this would be limited to working the cultivation facility, which I don't know if that's indoors or in a field, but I would like to restrict it to that.
Do we have the ability to restrict? Or is it just a condition? And would that condition be limited to a certain amount of time?
I believe the regulation does allow for certain restrictions.
Yeah, Chair, the legislation and the regulation both allow for the board to place. It says conditions is what the regulation and statute says, and it doesn't have any limitations to that. You are allowed to put conditions on these petition approvals.
Okay. So,
was this petition for anything more than a cultivation card anyway? Because they have to get a separate card for each facility they work in.
Thank you.
so you wouldn't have, so it doesn't, so we don't have to put that condition on there?
Maybe just put a notice that if he applies for another, this would have to happen again, I guess.
Member Douglas, are you open to that
I'm open to the
amendment to your motion?
amendment to the motion that if he applies for any other type of work card, he would have to come back before the board.
Member Mazarano seconds that.
Okay, so just for clarification, the motion is for approval of the petition However, this is for cultivation only. And if he applies for anything else, any other license in cannabis, he would have to come before the board to get approval.
Yes.
Okay. So with that, we have a first and we have a second. Any additional discussion on the motion?
I just asked Chair Jimmy Hum for the record, is he aware of what the motion would entail?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
所以他的意思就是说，因为他们可以通过你这个卡，但他现在这个卡有一个界限，就是只有入职。如果你要申请的话，是炼油或者是送货，或者是那个 dispensary， 就是他们卖就是你要再重新走一遍这个流程，所以现在只能终止。
So I just have a quick question. We're just limiting it to cultivation. Are we not adding production, or is that a separate license? And I'm just thinking that the cash is just relevant at the dispensary level. So do we want to limit him to just the cultivation?
I would say cultivation and production would probably work if the board members were comfortable with that.
I'm comfortable with the clarification that it's cultivation and production.
Yes.
Yes, he's aware. And can you also send us that email as well, please?
Sure. Send it
To Mr. Gilbert, Steve Gilbert.
Sure.
Yeah. Or whoever you've been communicating with.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Okay.
Hold on real quick. Sorry, Chair. One additional question.
So if this gets approved, then he will receive any letters or anything to saying that's approved, and then he can give it to the owner to see.
Yes, James Hum, for the record, as soon as they vote today, if you can send us that email, Mr. Gilbert's team will approve it. He'll be eligible for an agent card, and then he can start work as soon as he's issued that agent card. Good, Chair. Yep,
Okay.
We're good.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table, and that is for the approval of a cultivation and production card. And if Mr. Cow wants to get a job in a dispensary, then he would have to, or anything else other than cultivation and production, he would then have to come to the board for approval. And with that, any other discussion on the motion? Hearing that, okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, with that, we have briefing from the chair and the executive director, and I just want to say thank you for having a light agenda for a change. We do have a lot of work to do, but it's nice to just have this light agenda, nothing controversial, and thank you for all your continued hard work. With that, Mr. Director Hum.
Thank you, Chair. James Hum for the record, and to your comments, I will keep this very brief. The last two, as well as the emergency, have been long. So, which is just yet again, as you mentioned, a testament to the team here. Just an incredible team. I have the pleasure of seeing everything that they do behind the scenes to even make these meetings happen. And again, just a huge thank you to them and our attorneys general as well. One quick thing, White Pine cultivation and production licensing round is open. That will be open until next Friday, the 26th. That is actually the second licensing round we've ever done at the CCB. So we're pretty proud. We've turned that around really quickly. So again, thank you to Chief Gilbert and his team and the countless others that chipped in to get that done. And that was a direct result of this board here's approval of the White Pine regulations back in February of 2024. So thank you to the board. Thank you to Chief Gilbert and his incredible team for getting that open. That'll be open through again next Friday, and then we'll work to get with the one production and the one cultivation license open out in White Pine. So again, appreciate everyone's hard work. Thank you to the team, and we'll turn it back over to you, Chair.
Great, thank you so much. All right, then we'll go to agenda item 10, which is the items for future agendas. Any items for future agendas from the board members? Okay, with that, we'll go to public comment. We'll start in the south. Any public comment in the south? Then we'll go to the north and then online. And again, just a reminder that we have a 3-minute maximum for public comment. So anybody that wants to comment, please come up to the table and state your name for the record. And keep your comments to 3 minutes, and then we'll move on. Thank you.
This is Samuel Ready. Hi, good morning, Madam Chair and members. Just to briefly say that I had recently received a notification from CCB in regards to the social equity application. In which from what I have, if I remember correctly, there should be a drawing coming up sometime in mid-August based on the notification that I received. I just want to say that thanks, Executive Director James Hunt, for really showing great leadership. Step, I know it's been not a very comfortable discussion but I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And thanks for all that you do. Straight to it.
Thank you. Any additional comment?
None in the south, Chair.
Okay. Any comment in the north? No comment in the north. Any discussion or comment online?
If you wish to provide public comment, dial *9 to raise your hand. Caller with the last 4 numbers, 2608. Go ahead, dial *6 to unmute, and please state your name before providing your comment.
Hi, this is Catrice Saunders for the record. Thank you guys. I will be filling out my petition under SB 277 for excluded felony offenses. I was just wondering under clarification that I needed to fill out multiple petitions for each job if I wanted to apply for cultivation dispensary. So if I could get clarification on that, that would be great. And then as far as the radiated weed, I was just seeing when that was going to be solidified, if that was going to be a QR code or on the package. And if we could have more information on that, that would be great. Thank you for your time today. This is Catrice Saunders for the record.
Thank you. Any additional comment? I know staff.
There's no additional comment on my.
Okay. And I know staff will answer those questions. Public comments, not really a dialogue. It's just more to put your comments on the record and we can answer those offline. Okay. No more public comment. With that, we'll go ahead and adjourn this June meeting of the CCB. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your month, and we'll see you next month.